The channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Staltari, and I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last few years, I have been featuring each fille du roi or king's daughter and getting to know their stories a little bit better. There are over 700 of them. We are currently on episode 191. We have come so far, still a long way to go. But before we begin looking at our fille du roi of this episode, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. We've got it on the left hand of your screen. Subscribe, like, and notify. All of this helps out with the logarithms of YouTube and all that good stuff. And then the other ways are ways you can support that make the channel grow, which is we have Coffee, which is a standalone platform where you can contribute once, or Patreon, which is a monthly subscription. And we also have right here on your dashboard the super thanks that you can do right on your computer, and it's a one-time just kind of a thumbs up, if you will, and let me know that you like my content. And with that being said, let's get started and have a look at episode number 191 and our fille du roi of this episode. So our episode 191 is Antoinette Meunier. And she is a viewer request, so I'm thrilled to do it. When I looked in my files, I did have one, and it was from one of my childhood best friends, and she knows who she is, and this is her great-grandmother as well. So Antoinette was born in 1637 in a commune called Autun in France, which is, as you can see, the region is Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, and it is the department of Saône-et-Loire. So it's really kind of an interesting area. It's kind of closer to Switzerland, if you will. And it was founded, if you can believe it, during the reign of Augustus, 27 BC. And it was originally known as Augustodonium. I hope I'm saying it right. Her parents were Antoine Meunier and Anne Lemay. This is the church that she would have been baptized in, that has been around forever. And we also have a beautiful shot of the village as it is today. After her father's death, she decided to embark on the greatest adventure of her life. She became a fille du roi. She would take the ship Le Jean Baptiste Dieppe and arrive in Quebec on June 18, 1665. She carried with her a dowry worth about 150 pounds. So the groom that she would select and who would select her, his name, Jacques Aubert. And he was born at 1638 in the small commune of Sainte-Marguerite-sur-Duclair in France. His parents were Jacques Aubert and Marguerite Ozanne. Now you can see that Sainte-Marguerite-sur-Duclair is from the Normandy region, and the département is Seine-Maritime. And this is the Sainte Marguerite Church. There is a Le Saint Denis de Duclair Church. It was built between the 11th and 12th centuries. The Saint Denis Church has the particularity of unveiling three gables. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And if you're wondering why there's a picture of a duck up on your screen, it's because this area is renowned for, they've got a duck named after them. It's a unique duck. And it is Le Canard Duclair, which is black with a white bib. So cute. It's almost penguin-like. But that is a Duclair duck, and I guess if you're a duck aficionado, this is a big deal. So I was able to find this marriage record of Jacques and Antoinette. I've listed the location of it for you to peruse of your own for your own selves. They were married November 9th, 1665. In their marriage, they would settle at Trois-Rivières. Let's talk a little bit about Trois-Rivières. It is only the second settlement of New France, the first being La Ville de Québec, Quebec City. It was named Trois-Rivières, or Three Rivers, because the St. Maurice River has three channels that form at the mouth of the St. Lawrence River. Trois-Rivières, as I've stated, is French for Three Rivers. It was known as Three Rivers for a long time in North America, but as the French regained control of their province, the French version overtook the Three Rivers name. Growing up in a half English, half French family, my mother would call it Trois-Rivières, my father would call it Three Rivers. Eventually, we all called it Trois-Rivières. Trois-Rivières has a very strategic location on the St. Lawrence River, helping the new nation to grow and prosper. It also proved to be an important battle in the American Revolution, the Battle of Three Rivers. Some of you who have ancestors in this area at that time might be surprised that you might qualify for admission to the daughters or sons of the American Revolution. So you can see on the map where Trois-Rivières is. It's really between Quebec City and Montreal. And then you see the picture of the mouth of the St. Lawrence River. And then up there is really, I mean, Trois-Rivières is a modern town, don't get me wrong, but there is a section of it that looks exactly as it would have back in the 16th and 17th centuries. And we have the 1666 census where Jacques and Antoinette are newly married. So let's have a look at where they settle next. So they go up to Cap de la Madeleine, and they are found there in 1667. We have Jacques, Antoinette, and by then they have Antoinette, a little girl of 1 year old, and they have 6 arpents à valeur. So they have about 4 to 5 acres of land. Let's talk a little bit about Cap de la Madeleine. It's up north from Trois-Rivières, not too much, but Cap de Madeleine was founded March 20th, 1651. The establishment was named by Jacques de la Ferté, who was the abbot of Sainte-Madeleine de Châteaudun in France. The city is famous for its basilica, Basilique Notre-Dame du Cap, dedicated to Our Lady of the Cape. This basilica receives thousands of pilgrims and visitors each year. Pilgrims are drawn to this site because it's considered to be the place where 2 miracles were performed by the Blessed Virgin Mary. The first being the miracle of the Ice Bridge in 1879, and the other being the miracle of the eyes, 1888. So just Google that, and you'll get a sense of this. It's a really big deal. The first official pilgrimage occurred in 1883 and consisted of about 150 people who traveled to the location by foot. This site is considered to be the first pilgrimage site in North America, excluding Mexico. During World War II, the Royal Canadian Air Force built and operated No. 11 Elementary Flying Training School as part of the British Commonwealth. And so you can see that Cap de la Madeleine has been an extraordinary place and is beyond beauty. You can see the shoreline there. I love looking at that picture. And this, of course, is the Basilica that was eventually built. And this is where Jacques and Antoinette spent some time. Where did they go next? I wonder. So now they go and settle at Gagne. So you can see that Gagne is just a little bit further up north. So Jacques in the 1681 census is listed. He's got Jacques and Antoinette, their children, Madeleine, Marie, that's all they've got, 2 guns, they have 14 goats, and they have 16 arpents à valeur, which is about 14 acres of land. Now, it's located obviously on the north shore of the St. Lawrence River. The name Gagne was actually given by Samuel de Champlain himself. Gagne is from the French verb gronder, which means to rumble or roar. And the large number of flats of large pebbles which are in front, which means that when it's windy, the waters make a great noise. The Seigneurie of Gagne was granted to the nuns of Hôtel-Dieu in 1646 by Charles de Montmagny, governor of New France at the time. In 1672, the Seigneurie of Gagne was extended. And it was definitely something that would be established. And the windmill at Gagne is the oldest surviving one in the province of Quebec. It was built in 1674 and served as a flour mill for the first 200 or so years, and then became a lighthouse from 1812, which I'm thinking is part of the War of 1812 defense. All the way to 1967. You can visit this windmill, and it's now a historical site. I'm always amazed when something an ancestor would have looked at is still present. Somehow, mystically, I think it bridges the years between them and myself to be looking at the same object. Really, really like that. So I've got an old style, the Vieux Moulin at Gagne. I put like kind of an old picture postcard. This is a more modern view of it. This is an aerial view, and of course the church at Gagne. Let's have a look at the family. In all, they would only have 3 children, which was unusual at the time. We had Antoinette, who married Louis Hamelin. and had 9 children, 8 of whom would make it. Marie-Madeleine married François Hamelin, yes, the brother, and had 11 children, all of whom would make it. Marianne would marry Roch Repos and have 4 children, all of whom would make it. That's pretty good odds. And once again, he would become a seigneur à Grandet by the purchase. And this is the purchase example. So the tenant becomes a seigneur. In future years, he would pass the seigneury on to his son-in-law, Louis Hamelin, where it would remain in the family until 1797. Amazing, amazing history. Antoinette would pass away February 25th, 1697, either at 58 years of age or 62. A very sudden death indeed. So Jacques would carry on. He would not remarry, but he had what is known as a natural child with Marguerite Renaud, who was 37 years younger than he was. She would go on to marry Raymond Chen and have 5 children with him. Marguerite's mother was Françoise Desportes, who we profiled in episode 26. His daughter, Madeleine, would marry Antoine Alinotte and have 4 children, 3 of whom would make it. Please let me know if you are a descendant of his natural child. I love that terminology. So on July 19, 1710, Jacques would pass away at the age of 72. 7 years later, both bodies, both he and Antoinette, were transferred to the new church at Grandet. And as always, the resources that I use consistently are always put here. I have the the addresses in the notes section. Please have a look at that. Let's spotlight La Société des Filles du Roi et Soldats du Carignan. I am a member and the membership chairperson. This is a society in which if you prove your lineage, you'll get a beautiful certificate and you join and have access to the members only journal that they publish twice a year. We actually publish it electronically now, so it's very, very nice. And there's lots and lots of resources there. Long before I ever became a member, I would use this site. When I was doing my own family tree. And they've been around since 1994. Next year will be their 30th anniversary, so it really have stood the test of time. And episode 191. What a ride Antoinette had, coming from Normandy all the way to Trois-Rivières and then following into Cap de la Madeleine and Les Grondins, and then ultimately becoming seigneuress, leaving us with 3 children and by 1729, 119 descendants. Not too shabby. And we know that she became with Jacques a true power couple. Although she left us too soon, we know that her contribution will not be forgotten, is not forgotten, and we are grateful and thankful that she came to our shores, and we bless her memory. Thank you, Antoinette. Until I see you on episode 192, I will say au revoir, and I also want to point out my patrons and supporters, thank you again for all you do to help me do this. Thanks again, and au revoir.